Okay, ready?
I'm Lori Bryan. I think I know most of you. I own the mill. Actually rented it from Deb Schumacher starting 9 years ago, and then I bought it a couple years later. And I have to tell you, the minute I walked in here, the very first time, I'm like, I love this building. And Deb had been, she'd been here for like 30 years, and she did a lot, but there was still a lot more to do, so I thought I could do it. We did some stuff, but it really kind of never came to fruition like I wanted it to. So Lois has been a good friend, and she says, I know somebody that might be able to help you. Might be able to restore the mill the way you're kind of seeing it. And she said she helps veterans. And Jan just asked me if I know any veterans, and my dad was in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. So it was close to my heart. So I'm excited that Sandy's here, and I'm excited for her to tell you exactly what she's going to do with the mill. I think a whole lot of it's like what I had in my head, so I'm really, really excited. I was really afraid that whoever bought it next would tear it down, because it's almost 200 years old. It's on Van Dyke. My husband said it's prime real estate.
It is.
Whoever you sell it to is not going to keep it. So Sandy promised me she was not going to knock it down. So I'm thrilled that she's the next owner. And I'm going to have Lois tell you a little bit more about Sandy's mission, the girl that brought us together.
Okay, so my name is Lois, and I was just really the concierge that introduced two friends together. And Lori needed some help. Sandy is a helper, and so we put them together, not seeing the complete vision or how this was all going to turn out. But I, too, come from a military family. Grandfather, great-grandfather. My dad was in the Korean War. He was a recipient of a Purple Heart. And my brother, after he graduated from college, went right into the service, and then his son did the very same thing. So, yes, we really are thankful for the vets, and we know that they're not always given what they should be given, and the kindness and respect. But, anyways, so I didn't know Sandy. I knew a little bit about her, but not very well. And I didn't really know about the mission, and then I got invited to come down and cook at the house, at the shelter. And I brought Mike, and I brought my grandchildren, and we had such a good time. We came down on Tuesdays, and we baked all kinds of stuff and made things, and we had a really good time with it. And then Lori and Sandy got together, and we thought, well, this would be a good thrift store. This might be an extension of all of that, and it's kind of evolved, and I'll let Sandy tell you about that. The one thing that really attracted me about the mission is it's necessary and needed, but I've never seen anyone that has such passion and such vision as Sandy. She's the volunteer executive director. She started the mission with her own retirement funds. She's in it, really in it, and she cares about the vets, and she cares with such a passion that it's very contagious. So, and you know, I'm a history person, and I love old buildings. That wasn't necessarily the case with Sandy. So she was like, what about this old building? What? And so this, you know, the mill has seen wars and fires and floods, and all kinds of things have taken place, and here we are. And to use it, to repurpose it for something else is really a very special thing that we all get to be part of, because I have a thing about mills, and I say a keepsake mill is you're just the keeper of the things until the next person comes along. These are all borrowed things, really. They don't belong to any of us, and God blesses us with them. We get to use them, we get to do good things with them, and then someone else takes over for us. So I would give you Sandy because she's really special, and you guys already know that.
Okay, I'm going to take a chair because I have to sit.
She's always laying around.
I broke my tailbone, crushed 2 vertebrae, so standing is usually a problem for me. Okay, so anyway, thank you everybody for coming. Lois kind of nailed it You know, and let me just explain a little deeper in that. I mean, I too appreciate, you know, the history of this building. I think it's a cool building, but I'm zero focused on my mission of helping the veterans. And I have so much on my plate that it's kind of scared me. I was kind of scared. I'd be like, oh, what am I getting into now, right? And do I even have time to give it the attention that it deserves? Once I made the decision to do that, and part of my decision in acquiring this space was that I was able to, between me, Lori, and Lois, able to formulate a plan that everybody gets to win. And I always say that anybody who knows me, everyone has to win or no one wins. Okay? So we can restore this building. We can save the history of it, make it a viable part of this community again. Because I know, I mean, I'm not from Elmont, but I know that the people here in Elmont love this building. It's their history. So, you know, I'm going to be a good steward of that. I did promise Lori that I would not tear it down. That never, just so you know, never occurred to me. I would never do that. Although, I did acquire the granary in Imlay City and the 150-year-old barn I had to tear down, which there was no choice. And I said, you know, that I did a Facebook post and said, you know, I have to tear down the barn. You know, it's, I forget what I said.
It's kind of a hazard.
Well, I said, you know, it's an eyesore or whatever, and then the community, like, beat me up on that. Yeah, well, and I said to the one lady, I said, I'm sorry, but no one has paid attention to it at all for 100 years. Okay? I bought the granary. The barn has to come down. There's no saving it at this point. But the coolest part of it is that we just tore down the barn in Imlay City and saved the barn wood, brought it here to the mill, and then we're using that 150-year-old barn wood to replace the damaged wood here. So, you know, it saves the integrity of this historical landmark by, you know, being able to utilize still 150. And thank goodness I didn't have to pay for that and have to go out and buy the barn wood. That would have been, you know, deeper pockets than I want to even think about. So, but back to my point is that I realized that with, by restoring this, we could turn this space into like a boutique. Not the thrift store like we have in Roseville, the Veterans Thrift Store. This space is too small, but, you know, more of our, you know, items that we would normally sell at the store will come out here, but these will be items like collectibles, antiques, you know, cooler, niche-y kind of stuff in the boutique area. And then Lois, she got me and everybody else in this area hooked on her sourdough bread. It is absolutely phenomenal, the best ever. So we're restoring the kitchen. The kitchen in this building is just annihilated because the roof was leaking. So they've already ordered the material for the roof. So the roof is going to be, the work on the roof will start next week. And then at the same time, we're going to start restoring the kitchen. Needs a new ceiling, new floors, and then all new equipment in there. But Lois is going to be doing some of her sourdough bread out of here. And then she's also going to be hosting classes in the back room. And so classes on how to, you know, teach you to make your own sourdough bread. How cool is that? But I'm afraid that she's going to want to teach me how to make my own instead of her just making it for me.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
In your spare time. Yeah.
Right? As she's spoiling me with the sourdough. And the focaccia. Like, oh my goodness. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so we'll have the boutique here. And then in this back room, this back space is going to be meeting space. So if you can have your baby showers, you can have, business meetings, classes. There'll be different, like different artisans around that might want to rent the space. They have their classes on how to do their specialty things. I have no idea. The potential here is unlimited. So by doing all of that, we all understand that for me, it's all about the mission. So these focused. Did you get it back?
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. Okay.
Okay.
So here's the most important part to me anyway. Maybe not to everyone, but the most important part for me in this whole project is the back half of this property. So this property sits on 3.5 acres, and right around the halfway mark, the Clinton River runs right through it. So Lois was able to connect us with the Amish, and they're going to take the beams from the granary and use some of the wood and build a footbridge over to that back half, so that you can, now that back half is totally undeveloped. And so here's my damsel in distress part, folks. And I rarely go out on this, ringing this bell. Any of the efforts that I've made, I don't want to say I've done on my own, but the money parts I've done on my own. Like when I launched Vets Returning Home, I used my entire retirement account and actually borrowed money 2 months in a row until the community started kind of, helping me help them. Thank God. And then, 3 years ago, I was able, during that next, 7, 8 years, 9 years, start to reestablish my retirement account. And 3 years ago, I opened the Veterans Thrift Store. And now that, at the Veterans Thrift Store, we fully expect to write a check for at least $100,000 from the store to the shelter this year. And our goal is actually 120, but I'm positive we'll get to at least 100. And that's substantial. Now my entire budget at Vets Returning Home is $350,000. So, and my goal is to create the revenue streams reoccurring, and that, I always say, in case I get hit by a bus or whatever. I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years, and obviously, eventually, someone's going to have to take the helm. I'm not saying I'm going anywhere. I'm not, but I'm being realistic. I'm almost, I'll be 67 in a few weeks. And, I just want to make sure that our good work continues no matter what. So the Veterans Thrift Store, we're almost 1/3 there. At the mill, we'll be hosting like weddings and class reunions and all kinds of events here. And, a portion of that income, that profits, will be going to Vets Returning Home. And it's total speculation at this point, but I kind of think that we should be able to pull $100,000 out of here too. So that gives me 2/3 of the way. Now for the most exciting part of this is the back half of this property, in that, and this is where I need help. Renovating this building, I got this. I am out of my pocket. It's my building, my commitment. I promised I would restore it, and that's what I'm doing. But my pockets are not deep enough to do all that needs to happen. And after the obvious mandatory things that needs to be done here, the roof, the kitchen, the things that are making this building deteriorate, we have to save the integrity of the building. It's the next half that my pockets are not deep enough. But what we are intending to do is build that back half out as a retreat for our veterans. And I just want to explain what that's going to look like. So the footbridge going over to the back half, and then there'll be 4 she sheds. In each she shed will sleep 4. It'll be a loft, like a full-size bed on top with a ladder climbing up, and then 2 twin beds. And so there'll be 4 she sheds, 4 teepee-style tent campsites, and 2 tree houses. And then eventually, depending on once we get back there in the build-out and all that, maybe we'll add more. But I think that that's probably enough to at least get things launched. This is not just a cool, fun place for vets to go hang out. That although it will be very much that, that's not the intention. Our veterans, we're losing them, you know, as a community. Well, first of all, we all know as a government, it's embarrassing, the lack of care that we have for our veterans. Billions of our taxpayer dollars are spent on veterans programs. And of our taxpayer dollars, these programs are filled, just saddled with bureaucracy, incompetence, and corruption. And even though there are some very, very good organizations like Vets Returning Home, the nonprofits that receive no government funding, that were not caught up in all of their bureaucratic policies, there's not enough of us to make the kind of impact and be able to really provide the help that our veterans need. And out of all the work that I've done these 12 years at Vets Returning Home, we've housed over 2,500 homeless veterans at our facility. And I've always, well, I came into it very cocky and arrogant. I was going to be the one to come in and show them how it's done. You know, identify the issues and then address those. And my intention was to fully, I expected to be sitting on the floor of Congress, you know, and giving them the right answers on what they should be doing. And even though I've had numerous opportunities to do that, I've always passed because I never had the right answer. All I could do at this point is go to Congress and tell them how awful we are and how much we've failed. I didn't have a solution. Okay, I have a solution now, and this is why this retreat is such an important component. Is I had I was going to say the pleasure, but it's not the pleasure. It's almost like a I don't know, divine intervention, I guess. God led, all right? But I met through one of my board members. My board member lives in Arizona. And he went to a gathering, a party, his former boss, just outside of Nashville. And so he got to meet this couple. And the husband is, which I think is the cool part is, he's the guitar player and songwriter for Art Garfunkel. I thought that was kind of cool. And I told my grandson that, and the first thing he said was, he's 22. I thought he would be like, who's that? And the first thing he said was, hello, darkness, my old friend. He knew exactly who he was. So I thought that was kind of cool.
It's a big song right now.
Yeah, it is.
And then, his wife, Annie, she is an author. And so my board member said, you've got to meet Annie. You have to meet Annie. You got to talk to Annie. So Annie and I connected. She actually came up. She lives just outside of Nashville. But she came up a few weeks ago. And I brought her here. I took her on a tour of everything. You know, the shelter where the homeless veterans live. We stopped in at the store. We came to the mill. I showed her. Actually, I took her to the granary first. Showed her the granary. And that's going to eventually become our donation center for this end of town. And then I brought her here, and I expressed to her my entire vision of this. And the importance of Annie is that she has identified and came up with the solution to helping our vets heal after they complete their term of service and they're discharged. And I will tell you this in a nutshell. My 12 years of experience tells me these guys, they joined the military, they pledged their life because they're warriors, they're soldiers. That's who they are. And then all of a sudden, they're not that anymore. You know, our government used them up. You know, some of them, they got discharged because they're now disabled and they can't be that soldier anymore. Some of them, you know, they did their 4-year commitment. You know, they fulfilled their 4 years, but they still came home and they didn't realize when they got home that they would be so totally lost. So, probably the biggest feedback, because I always interview, I personally interview every new veteran that stays at Vets Returning Home, and I always ask them, you know, give me the nickel version in a nutshell. What most issues brought you to crisis? And the one thing that I hear the most of is that they'll say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, and some of them will say, you know, nobody's telling me what to do. And realize that they, you know, before they went in the service, mom said, get up, get dressed, make your bed, dinner's at 6, you know, be home by 11. And then Uncle Sam told them right down to the color socks they were going to wear, you know. And then they went through all of that training about you're a warrior, right? You're a soldier. And they own it in their core. They own it. Now they come home, and who are they now? And I have been one-on-one. I tell them things like, who do you want to be? You know, what do you mean, who do I want to be? Decide who you want to be. Figure out who you want to be, and then walk the walk. I give them the analogy of like a debutante going to finishing school. When you put the book on your head, you know, you walk and turn and walk and turn, and you got to balance that book. If you walk and turn so many times, you can take the book off, and that becomes your walk. So I express to these veterans, you decide who you want to be, and then you walk the walk until you make it. It was my way, in a layman or lame, I don't know, way of expressing what Annie has put together, not only in her book, but now she's doing seminars across the country, and it's about purpose. If we don't have I know what my purpose is. I know what it is. I'm doing God's work, you know, that's my purpose. And my purpose just happened to be veterans. That's my main purpose. It's making a difference in general in the community, and I love being able to participate in things like this and still make it a win-win for our veterans as well. But Annie and I, after many conversations, Vets Returning Home is going to partner with Annie. And so we're going to be, Vets Returning Home is going to be helping facilitate some grant opportunities for veterans from all over the country to be able to participate in these seminars for free, because a veteran will never pay for this. And this will be their kind of headquarters. And my hope is that if we can get this retreat built out, and I'm a think big, go big or go home kind of person, but I fully expect to do the build out. Once that build out is complete, we're going to host our first retreat, and I expect Pete Hegseth to participate. So when Pete is here, sitting around the campfire in a PTSD group, meeting with the therapist and his brothers, and then, you know, the next morning they get up, they have their coffee and some breakfast, you know, and then they come into the back room in the meeting area space, and they do the seminar. Once they complete that seminar, I guarantee you Pete Hegseth, he's going to get it. He will know exactly what's happening. And then Pete's going to walk me into Congress. And the goal at Congress is that the veterans, every veteran, actually every person who doesn't know their purpose should take this course. But our veterans are especially lost. But more importantly, we got to start helping our veterans before they're veterans. Once they get their discharge orders, we already know when they get home, they're going to be a hot mess. Why can't we address that before they become one of the statistics of the 1 in 22? Or by the time they find a place like Vets Returning Home, they're hanging on by their fingernails. They're at the bottom. They're a hot mess. And it's so much, I don't want to say easier because none of it's easy, but it makes so much more sense. Give me these soldiers before they're so broken, before they've just been beat down to the point where they don't want to go on anymore. You know, help them before they're so hurt. So with that said, I'm just going to throw it out there. All the renovations on this building, the stuff that has to be done, will be done, and it will be done by October 15th. I intend to have an event here, and it will, Lois and I have talked about it, it'll be the 12th anniversary of Vets Returning Home, so I think it's just appropriate. So we're going to have this event here. Now, will every single thing be done on the mill? No. The cool, fluffy stuff to make it like really pretty, you know, we'll probably have to wait. I mean, unless somebody is truly just philanthropic and, you know, wants to help. But that's not my ask. My ask is I desperately need help on the retreat. My pockets are not deep enough for me to do it on my own. And if I have to do it on my own, I will. It will be done. But if I have to do it on my own, we're looking at probably 2027. And I'm telling you right now, our veterans don't have that much time. We are losing. The amount of dysfunction is all I can say. And I don't mean to be insulting to our veterans or whatever, but I see the brokenness is getting substantially worse, not better. And in society in general, we all know since COVID, the hell that we've all been through, you know, the fake news and all the drama in the world and all the fear mongering and everything, it's affected every single one of us. I don't care how strong you are. You know, it has affected us all. But our veterans who were already struggling then got to deal with COVID. And let's not forget the withdrawal from Afghanistan, because that was the first, like, jaw-dropping, what I saw live, the deterioration of the, whatever you want to call it, mental health of our veterans. Those that were already struggling are just now, it's more than I can do. More than, you know, just having a roof over their heads and a bed and food, you know, and the basic essentials, that's great. I don't want to wait until 2027. Our veterans deserve our help now. And so I need help. I started a crowdfunding campaign. It's at GoFundMe. It's Save the Mill, Save the Vets. And just so you know, I want to make it very clear, okay? I bought this building. I own it. It's my personal asset. The mill will become an opportunity to create revenue for the veterans. I will never take a dime out of it, ever. Just like I don't take a dime out of the store. I volunteer at the shelter. You know, it's not about that for me, right? But, and I don't really think that it would be fair to ask the community hey, pony up a bunch of money to help me increase the value. That's what I was looking for. The value of my asset. This is my burden to cross the barrier, whatever you call it. So, and I'll get it done. And I'm not complaining about that. But for the back half, so I am doing a long-term lease with Vets Returning Home. So Vets Returning Home is going to lease that back half of the property from me for $1 a year. So the build out, if anyone can help me get this done through the GoFundMe crowdfunding campaign, I have different, like...
Give, send, go.
I'm sorry. Give, send, go. Not go fund me.
Go fund yourself.
The Canadian truckers, that was awful. I don't trust them anymore. Anyway, give, send, go. Save the mill. Save the vets. Give, send, go. So because it is a Vets Returning Home build out, whatever you can contribute, $25 to whatever, is all a tax deduction. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so and there's different levels. Any amount obviously helps, but I do need some heavy lifting. Like for example, the footbridge. I'm figuring that's going to cost right around $7,500, and so my brilliant idea was, how about you sponsor the footbridge and we'll name it after you. So build your own legacy, right? And or we can name the she shed, one of the she sheds, or a teepee, or a tree house, or whatever, right? But now with that said, that's really the end of what I have to say. But I have one more issue, and I still haven't figured out how to deal with this. In that, in order for me to truly launch the retreat, I have to have a bathhouse. There is no infrastructure on that back half, nor will there be. Like I'm not putting plumbing back there. City water is not going to be back there, right? So I need a bathhouse. The bathhouse has to come on this side, and there's a space that we'll be building out as kind of an addition on the back of this building. And it's expensive, and it's not in my budget this year. So in that regard, if somebody wants to help me build the bathhouse, that's really what I'm praying for. That the weight, the thing that I go to sleep at night thinking about is like, how the hell am I going to build the bathhouse this year? Because it's not in my budget. I have to do the roof. I have to do the kitchen. I have to finish that back room. I have to redo the porch. On and on and on and on and on. Those things have to be done. And I have all the confidence in the world that the community, the viewing community, and throughout all of our social media and through this crowdfunding campaign, I know how much, at least my followers, love and support our veterans. So I have no doubt that this will get done. I just don't know how to do the bathhouse. And because whoever helps me do the bathhouse is not going to get their charitable donation receipt. You can have all the bragging rights. We'll name it after you, your wife, your kids, your grandkids. I'll put everybody's name on it. But it would just have to be a thing from the heart. Because like I said, it's not something it's not a vet search because it's attached to this building. It's not part of the lease. It's the mill market. But anyway, anybody have any questions, or is there anything that I missed? Or
This is a historical building. Can you apply for any kind of grants to restore it?
I could. I could. Now, here's the thing.
No, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
But also, doesn't Almont want this building? You already covered it. Okay.
We should have better luck because it's a nonprofit.
Yeah, one, I don't have time to do all the research. Two, I don't have time to deal with the grant portion because you spend all this time researching it, then you write the grant, then you wait forever for them to decide if you're going to be awarded. And a lot of the grants are, $5,000 to $15,000. And not to say that that's not substantial, but kind of what I was thinking is that, I'll do the heavy lifting, and then I'll apply for grants to do some of the restoration, like the wagon wheel right out there, the water wheel. It looks like a wagon wheel, but it's for water.
We know this is a mill.
Yeah, it's that can be restored and made beautiful, like turning this like a garden area. And I think that's probably, I will apply for grants, but it'll be those things that we don't have to do right now.
One other small idea is all the artisans that rebuilt the White Horse Inn.
Yes.
Have any of them been interested in helping out? Have you
Oh.
reached out to any of them? They're pretty amazing.
Yeah, they are very
They
amazing.
they love to do
It's a good
that
point.
sort of thing. So it's just another thought.
Fill me in on what that is about after.
Yeah, it's Metamora Days this weekend out at Metamora.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, I have a few. Have they included this now in the DDA?
Oh, it always has been.
Well, no, it stopped because of the bridge.
Oh, no.
And then
was.
they were trying to get it extended to this side of the bridge.
Yeah, it was the whole time I was here.
Okay, so you were able to be part of the DDA, so that's a plus.
It is a plus, yeah.
The historic issue, because I'm on Main Street, when you do that, then they start dictating what you can and cannot do. You can't change your doorknob. You can't change the color. You
It's
can't
like
do
Romeo.
anything.
The
You
whole
don't-
historic thing.
You have to be very cautious when you do that, which is why I never did that to my house on Main Street. The people on St. Clair are in the historic district, and they're really sorry they are, because they can't do anything. Their hands are tied.
There's a reason we don't have government funding. Now there's a reason we don't have those grants.
I absolutely, totally relate to that. And like Jason just said, it's part of why Vets Returning Home chooses not to be a recipient of government funding. I don't want to be all caught up in all the bureaucracy that because it just becomes inefficient. And, I don't have time. I just need to get it done and make it happen. So we're going to take the path of least resistance, but we're also going to do it right. So, and I'm a bull in a china shop. So I'm a pit bull. If it needs to be done, it will be done, and I'll run over whoever to make it happen.
So, Sandy and our paths have crossed several times over the last umpteen years, but she's so busy and meets 1 million plus people, so she doesn't really remember specific things, but that's okay. But I have referred people down there. But one thing I learned from her is when I see, because I don't know why, but every time I see somebody on the corner, veteran, homeless, I always stop. And then Sandy says, no, you have to get this information from them because they're not really veterans. They're just playing the system. They're just playing.
Yeah.
She's asked them this question, and if they can't answer it, they're not a veteran.
Yeah. Like we asked, what was your MOS? And if you're a civilian, you don't even know what an MOS is, right? But a veteran knows what an MOS is.
But I know there's a need because I have housed at least 6 veterans since I've moved up here, who have been living behind the Walmart in Lapeer, who have been living in their cars at the rest area, who have been living in the woods, somewhere.
Our veterans are in trouble, and there's no easy fix. And organizations like Vets Returning Home, no matter what we do in government, no matter what we do in the private sector and in the 501c3s, we're always going to have veterans in crisis. They're always going to need our support. Obviously, they deserve our support more than any other segment I can imagine. Maybe children, right up there with babies. But yeah, it's not. The veterans are always going to be something that we're going to hold close to our hearts. It's not going to be fixed anytime, not in my lifetime anyway. But with that said, that's really all I have, guys. I need you to go to Give, Send, Go, right? Give, Send, Go. Save the mill, save the vets. Help me do this. This is just one project that I can honestly say I can't do it all by myself. I can't do it all. I need help with this one. And this, ironically, is probably, I'm sure, I don't want to say probably, this retreat is the most important thing that I can honestly say that that I've done. I believe in the retreat more than I believe in the necessity of the shelter, because we can fix it at the core. We can fix it before they become homeless, before they become broken, you know, and that's getting that retreat up and running, get our veterans around the campfire with the therapists and their PTSD group, and then get Annie in here, which Annie will be coming and doing seminars here probably annually. She's not going to be here every weekend, kind of. She's going to be all over the country, right? But she'll be doing retreats here regularly. And the most important part is Annie and I sitting down with our elected officials and making them see the reality of what has to happen and what this really brings to the table for them. So I'm excited about the future of what the mill has for the community, for our veterans. And, you know, as much as this is costing me, this building better last another 200 years. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Thank you all. Anything else?
Yeah, in September, Almont has their big Heritage Homecoming Festival. It draws a lot of people. You're familiar with it, right, Lois? No?
Yeah.
Oh,
They blocked me off.
Yeah, they blocked you off.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of
There's a lot of foot traffic.
But to have a table or a booth or something out there
Yeah.
to make people aware of it. There's a lot of veterans attending that thing. I mean, we attract, what, a few thousand?
Oh yeah.
A few thousand people that Saturday. I know I can't get out of my driveway either. But fortunately, I enjoy it for that one day.
Well, I would like to say for everyone here that came, obviously some people came because you care about me and want to help me and help me help the vets. And some are here because maybe you didn't even know about my work with the vets. You came because you want to save the mill and and that's all good. But, you know, I need funding to do the back. I need, you know, volunteers. Once we get this launched, you know, there'll be great volunteer opportunities. And in between that, I need people to help me get the word out, get the message out. So obviously we're live streaming tonight, you know, so if you can leave your email addresses or whatever, or reach out to me on Facebook or a direct message or something, and then, you know, we can tag you and you can share the live stream, or at least the what is it called, the QR code or something for the Give, Send, Go, Jason?
I'm sorry?
The QR.
The QR
link,
code will be...
The link.
The link is in the description of the video, and it's in the comments right now.
Okay, perfect. So.
And it'll be up on the, obviously up on the Facebook page, front and center, pinned.
And we would ask all of you to pray for the mission and for the volunteers and for the vets and all of that, because we know that's very significant.
You know what? I always just think I can do it all by myself. You know, I've been praying a lot, but you're absolutely right. Please pray with me too, because it's a lot. And it's not just this. It's not, you know, it's not just this. My weeks are jammed. You know, I'm already volunteering 70 hours a week, and you know, thank you to Lori and Lois, because they're the ones in this area that are going to be doing more of the heavy lifting of the day-to-day, you know, once the build-out is done. So, but if you know of anybody, if you've got connections, friends, philanthropic friends, you know, please share this message with them, because it's important. We all got to do our part.
I'd like to donate standing. So just to go to the What's the site again? Is it in the live stream?
It is in the live stream. It's in the description and in the comments now. Somebody dropped it down.
All right.
You'll definitely get a donation from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get this party started.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Thank you so much. All right, guys, and we're going to call it good. Thank you so much for your time. Please like and share. And please go to Give, Send, Go. Save the Mill, Save the Vets. Thank you so much.